Wait. If you're going to Hong Kong Disneyland, which rides should you prioritize? What route should you take inside? Well, in this video, we'll share with you a simple itinerary that we think is the most ideal way to maximize your time at Hong Kong Disneyland. Hey there, poor traveler! I'm Hannah from WORTHIT Wonders. I've been to Hong Kong Disneyland 3 times and my teammates Josh and Vince have gone 6 times at this point. We're saying this not to brag, but rather to let you know that everything we're sharing is based on our personal experiences. Some might think it's overkill to have an itinerary for Hong Kong Disneyland, but we all know that tickets aren't cheap, so we want to help you make the most of your visit. And for many, Hong Kong Disneyland is the whole reason they're visiting Hong Kong. But before we get into that, if you're not subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell beside it, and select all so you won't miss our other informative videos. By the way, this video will be in English. If you're looking for a Tagalog version, visit our main channel called The Poor Traveler here on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, make sure to like and follow our page too. Okay, back to Disneyland. Before we share with you the itinerary, there are some things you need to know or need to do before you even visit. First of all, before going to Disneyland, make sure you had a proper filling breakfast. Walking around any Disney park can be pretty exhausting, especially when it's hot and sunny, so come prepared with enough energy. Also, it's best to eat before entering Disneyland because, as we have established in our previous videos, food inside the park is quite expensive. Number 2, download the Hong Kong Disneyland app. It will show you not just the map of the park and directions, but also the wait time for each attraction, which will be crucial in making decisions. Yes, we follow this itinerary we're about to share, but feel free to adjust it based on your preferences. If the wait time for an attraction is too long, you can rearrange a few items on this itinerary. Third, visit on a weekday. To ensure you get to try as many rides as possible, avoid the weekends, Mondays, and holidays. Tuesday to Thursday are the best dates and are usually cheaper too, so long as they don't fall around a holiday. And number 4, be familiar with the lay of the land so you won't be going around in circles. This is Hong Kong Disneyland. It is the smallest Disney resort in the world, but it has 8 themed areas or zones that you can explore, and it's actually bigger than you think. So the 8 theme zones are Main Street USA, which is a turn-of-the-century American street where vintage charm meets souvenir shopping and parade views. This is the first zone that will greet you immediately after the entrance. You have Adventureland, a lush jungle escape with river cruises, tribal drums, and Tarzan's treehouse. You also have Fantasyland, where classic fairy tales come alive with whimsical rides, royal castles, and magical meet and greets. And then you have Tomorrowland, which is a sleek sci-fi playground packed with Marvel action and intergalactic adventures. In Toy Story Land, step into Andy's backyard and see how it feels to be the small one amongst towering toys and rides. The Grizzly Gulch, on the other hand, is a Wild West mining town with runaway mine trains and bear-sized surprises. You also have Mystic Point, a mysterious land of optical illusions and the legendary Mystic Manor. And lastly, we have Arendelle, World of Frozen, a snowy Scandinavian kingdom where Frozen comes to life through rides and immersive scenery. This is the newest and currently the most popular zone in Hong Kong Disneyland. One thing you have to know is currently, Hong Kong Disneyland is offering an early park entry add-on top of the regular ticket. For an additional fee, around 199 Hong Kong dollars, this pass will allow you to access this zone 1 hour earlier than the official opening time of the park. So let's say today the park opens at 10 a.m., you can already explore World of Frozen as early as 9 a.m. with this pass. That's just 1 hour, but that's a big head start, and it should be enough to explore the zone. This sample itinerary will still work even without the early park entry, so you don't really have to get it if you don't want to spend more. But if your budget allows, go for it because it's worth it. If you'd like to get the discount, you can book this add-on as well as your Hong Kong Disneyland tickets through Agoda. Use our promo code AATPT for up to 30 USD off or roughly 1,770 pesos based on current conversions. That's actually 5% off with a maximum of a $30 discount. Just enter AATPT, must be all caps in the deals page and upon checkout as well. You can also enter AGODATPT for up to $100 off on hotels or visit www.thepoortraveler.net/Agoda to automatically redeem the discount voucher. With our promo code, you'll only be paying around 187 Hong Kong dollars, depending on Agoda's pricing at the time that you are looking on the app or on the website, versus 199 Hong Kong dollars on the official website. Now, if you have this pass, arrive at Hong Kong Disneyland at least an hour before the scheduled opening time. Then look for staff members holding signs like this because they have a special entrance route for those who avail of this add-on. Once in, you'll get to see Disneyland without the crowd, take a few pictures, and then as soon as you can, make your way to World of Frozen on the other end of the park. If you don't have an early park entry pass, does it still make sense to go to World of Frozen first when it's literally on the other side of the park from the entrance? Well, for us, the answer is yes. It's one of the most popular zones right now, so the lines are always long, especially at Frozen Ever After. The line here just keeps getting longer as the day progresses until maybe the late afternoon. But by then, you'll probably be too tired to return to it. So for me, it's best to prioritize it because it's really, really good. Arguably the coolest ride at Hong Kong Disneyland these days, and it really draws a lot of crowds. Just get it out of the way first so that you don't end up missing it. Here, you'll go on a boat cruise across a charming snowy village while Elsa, Anna, Kristoff, and Olaf sing the movie's iconic soundtrack. It does have a few surprises up its sleeves, but they aren't too wild, so nothing to worry about. And while you're already here in Arendelle, take the time to also try the Wandering Oaken Sliding Sleighs, a family-friendly roller coaster also inspired by Frozen. Once you're done with Frozen, make your way to Fantasyland. If you still have a bit of time left before the park officially opens to the rest of the park goers, ride whatever you can at Fantasyland. Dumbo Flying Elephant and many adventures of Winnie the Pooh are favorites within this zone that are already open for early access pass holders. However, if you find that your early entry hour is up, just keep walking south until you see a giant statue of Woody. Welcome to Toy Story Land. Personally, this is my favorite zone in terms of theme because I just love how the larger-than-life toys look at Toy Story Land. Maybe this was how the toys felt in the movies. But anyway, this zone only has 3 rides. High on your list should be RC Racer, which is extremely popular and always has long lines. From my last visit to Hong Kong Disneyland, we actually went back to this area twice because we were hoping that the line would eventually subside. But it didn't, so we just had to bite the bullet and line up or else we'd miss doing this ride entirely. Right after doing RC Racer, walk over to Toy Soldier Parachute Drop. You get strapped in with the Green Army Man and lifted up high before bouncing down like a soldier in training. Maybe bouncing isn't the term, but dropping or falling down. It's not nearly as terrifying as RC Racer though, especially since the drop isn't as high, but the slow climb builds up just enough suspense and the view of the park from the top is actually pretty sweet. The drop gives you that fun little tummy tickle. It's also pretty popular, so expect the lines to be long and they move incredibly slow too. But if you're taking this one alone, then good. Because you can easily bypass the line because this is the only ride at Hong Kong Disneyland that has a special solo rider lane. This is how it works. Every gondola here has 6 seats, and sometimes when the riders on the mainland are settled, some seats remain vacant. The staff fill them out by getting solo riders, and normally there are very few solo riders, so the wait times for them are significantly shorter. If you're a party of 2 or more, you can still take advantage of it, but know that you will be separated from your group. If you want to save time, go for it. Right across from the parachute drop is the Slinky Dog Spin, which is the tamest and mildest of the 3. It's just Slinky Dog trying to catch his tail. It's super fun for small kids, but honestly, not much thrill here. Once you're done with all 3, continue walking forward to the next zone, Mystic Point. You'll know you've stepped into Mystic Point because it's a drastic change from Toy Story Land or even Fantasyland. The air kinda seems a little thicker here, The trees a little shadier, and everywhere you look, there are strange statues and odd relics, especially at the Garden of Wonders, where optical illusions make statues twist and contort depending on where you stand. But at the heart of it all looms the grand Mystic Manor, the home of Lord Henry Mystic, Hong Kong Disneyland's very own eccentric explorer. This is a popular ride across our team. It's not a retelling of a familiar Disney movie, but instead an original concept, which I think gives it a bit of an edge as it feels fresh and new, making you even more curious about what you'll find in the Mystic Manor. The storytelling is beautiful and the audio animatronics are amazing. The second you board the carriage, the magic begins. The story unfolds as Lord Henry proudly shows off his artifacts while his pet monkey, Albert, curious as ever, fiddles with a mysterious music box. Suddenly, the whole collection springs to life. Paintings move, statues dance, and entire rooms transform right before your eyes. With the trackless ride system, every turn feels unpredictable, like the mansion itself is leading you on a wayward detour. I guess the fact that the ride is trackless adds to the fun because you can't really predict where you're going next since the carriage isn't built on a track because it's trackless again. So another cool thing is that it's indoors, so it will give you a break from the sun. Now, Mystic Point is one of the smallest zones here at Disneyland, so just walk a few minutes and you'll be out of it. Then you'll be greeted by a mining town. Enter the Grizzly Gulch. This themed land can only be found in Hong Kong. Walking in, it's the wild, wild west out here as this zone is inspired by the early days of the California Gold Rush. You'll pass by the very tempting Lucky Nugget Saloon, which is a stall with delicious Disney snacks. As appetizing as it may be, don't pay attention to it for now. You don't want to fill your tummy before braving our next ride, which is the Big Grizzly Mountain Runaway Mine Cars. At first glance, it looks like a classic runaway mine train. I hopped on expecting the usual twists and turns, but this coaster is full of surprises, which makes it one of my personal favorites from Hong Kong Disneyland. Midway through the ride, the track literally shifts beneath you, sending your carts backward into the dark before shooting you forward again at high speed. And just when you think it's over, a couple of Grizzly animatronics pop up, causing even more quote-unquote accidents that push the ride into pure chaos. It's thrilling, hilarious, and completely different from the coasters you'll find in other Disney parks. Once you've conquered it, then you can have lunch. At least at this point, there's no fear of your Lucky Nuggets riding the roller coaster in your tummy. Walk back to the Lucky Nugget Saloon and grab something to eat. It's best to keep your lunch light because we still have a lot of rides to try. They have a few selections with prawns, chickens, and a few desserts as well. You can check out the current menu from the Hong Kong Disneyland website on your screen. We're not recommending this because of the taste or the flavor, but only because it's the closest one in the area and it's more convenient than a proper restaurant. Just find a bench or table in the vicinity. If you want a completely shaded area, you can walk to this bridge, and under it you'll find a set of benches. If you don't like the menu at the Lucky Nugget Salon, don't worry, because close to this bridge you'll find Karibuni Grill, which during our last visit served honey soy sticky chicken wings, elotes or corn on the cob, cheddar cheese hot dog, and Korean squid. They also sell those giant turkey legs. Lots of options in this area, which is why we love having lunch here. The current menu from the Hong Kong Disneyland website is on your screen right now. But at this point, you may not have noticed it, but we have already stepped into another themed land. Welcome to Adventureland. Adventureland is Disneyland's version of a wild, tropical paradise. The whole place is wrapped in lush greenery and jungle sounds and the echoing of the drums. This is great because it's high noon or early afternoon at this point and you would want to escape the sun. We have a ride that's perfect for that. Head over to the Jungle River Cruise. It's campy, it's funny, and somehow it never gets old. Especially with the little surprises that the skippers or the captains of the ship throw in. It's a great way to beat the heat because you're surrounded by trees and water and the boat you are riding is covered. While on the Jungle River Cruise, you will be able to spot another attraction, Tarzan's Treehouse. It's more of an exploration play area, I guess, than a ride. And you can climb up the rope bridges and wooden walkways, which provide little vignettes from Tarzan's story. For us, it's the type of attraction that you see once, but not really an attraction you'll keep coming back to. We don't have any recent footage because it's been closed since February 2025 and remains closed until further notice. If Tarzan's Treehouse isn't open yet during your visit, feel free to go straight to Theater in the Wild where you can catch the Festival of the Lion King, an indoor, live, Broadway-ish musical with acrobats, fire dancers, and larger-than-life costumes and floats. It's a 30-minute show, and it's really great, so be sure to see it. The Theater in the Wild utilizes an arena-type stage with a central stage and audiences on all sides, but the use of floats in the show ensures that everyone gets a great view. And I honestly can't believe that we almost missed this because it was one of the highlights of my last visit. As of this recording, there are 4 performances on weekends. So we have the 12:30 p.m., 2:30 p.m., 5 p.m., and 6:30 p.m. slots, and 3 performances during weekdays. On weekdays, there isn't a 12:30 p.m. slot, which is why we recommend that you visit the Jungle River Cruise first while you're in Adventureland so that you're right in time for the 2:30 p.m. slot. Take note that these schedules are only visible up to around 3 weeks from the day you're viewing on the website, so these times may have changed by the time you view this video. You'll find the link to the specific page on Hong Kong Disneyland website in our description. Once you've had your dose of jungle fever, it's time to re-enter Fantasyland. If there's one place in Hong Kong Disneyland that screams classic Disney, it's Fantasyland. Here you'll be surrounded by carousels, pastel facades, and the kind of whimsical soundtrack that makes you feel like you've stepped into a childhood dream. It's the heart of the park, and honestly, it's impossible not to feel a little giddy here, especially as you stare at Castle of Magical Dreams looming above you. Originally, Sleeping Beauty's castle, it was completely reimagined into a soaring, multi-towered centerpiece that represents 13 Disney princesses. Each tower reflects a different princess, from Ariel with her seashells to Mulan with her cherry blossoms. At this point, forget about following a strict itinerary and play it by ear. Go where the line is shortest, but there are 2 attractions that I want to highlight. First is Mickey's PhilharMagic, a 4D musical show where Donald Duck gets into trouble with Mickey's Magical Orchestra, with water sprays, scents, and a whirlwind of Disney movie scenes. It's the perfect spot to sit down, cool off, and be swept up in some nostalgia. Second is The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, a family-friendly ride that's surprisingly popular. I guess we're mostly coming from the perspective of adults, and since this ride isn't the most thrilling, I find it surprising that a lot of adults line up for this as well, even when they're not accompanying any kids. If you see that the wait time here is not that bad, grab the chance because the line here fills up fast. Here you hop into a honey pot and follow Pooh and friends through the 100-acre wood. It's cute, cozy, and a little bit trippy, and it's also quite dark and cool inside, and it's a great way to cool down from all that walking. Okay, so maybe now I do get why even adults line up for this. Fantasyland is also quite small, but it is packed with attractions, although most of them are for small children, but adults are also welcome, of course. If you have kids, then you honestly won't have a choice. Your kids will insist on riding the following: Cinderella Carousel, which is basically just that, a grand carousel. The Mad Hatter Teacups, where you can spin yourself silly under colorful lanterns, and Dumbo the Flying Elephant, where you hop onto your own flying Dumbo. It's like a carousel, but you soar in the air and control how high or how low you go. Now that I'm a bit older, I usually skip these rides, but I used to love these rides when I was in elementary school. And of course, as you exit Fantasyland, make a stop at It's a Small World. The ride takes you on a boat through colorful sets filled with dolls in traditional costumes from all over the world. Hong Kong's version is extra special because it includes Disney characters woven into the scenes. Spot Mulan in China, Aladdin and Jasmine in the Middle East, and even Lilo and Stitch in Hawaii. And the Philippines is featured here too. And yes, the song will get stuck in your head, but not for too long because you'll soon be replacing it with other Disney songs. When you exit Fantasyland, you'll find yourself close to the front of the castle and Main Street. There are 2 things that you might want to catch here. First, Disney Friends Live Party at the Castle. This is a 15-minute high-energy concert-style show featuring Mickey and friends, Duffy and friends, and of course, some of our fave Disney princesses like Belle, Tiana, and Aurora. There are different schedules during weekends and weekdays. As of recording, there are 4 shows during weekends and only 2 shows on weekdays. There used to be a few more schedules when we visited Hong Kong Disneyland last year, but if you find that you're seeing the same or a similar schedule as the one we're flashing on the screen and you're visiting on a weekday, you may want to head over to Fantasyland right after the Grizzly Gulch or just skip the show altogether. Take note that the available show times on weekdays are during times of the day that are quite hot. If you're visiting on a weekend, you have a bit more flexibility since there are more schedules in the afternoon. Again, make sure to check the Hong Kong Disneyland website for the available showtimes during your visit and prioritize based on what you really want to experience. Aside from the show, you can also catch the Fantastic Parade along Main Street. As with the other shows, there are more schedules during the weekends. This is the biggest parade in Hong Kong Disneyland, featuring 11 larger-than-life floats featuring Mickey and friends and your favorite characters from Toy Story, Zootopia, Encanto, Monsters Inc., Up, and of course, Inside Out. Over 100 performers make the atmosphere really grand and festive, and the floats are a joy to watch. After the parade, it's time to enter another dimension. Well, sort of. Walking into Tomorrowland feels like stepping into a sleek, futuristic sci-fi city. It's like you've time traveled. What I recommend that you prioritize here is Hyperspace Mountain because it draws in the biggest crowd. This is a Star Wars themed indoor roller coaster. You start in almost pitch black darkness and then you weave through these fighters and laser blasts. The soundtrack booms, the turns are sharp, and by the end you're screaming and cheering. It's easily one of the most exhilarating rides in the whole park. After this, walk all the way to the other end and you'll find the Iron Man Experience, which also happens to be Marvel's very first Disney ride in the world. You strap into a Stark Vision flight vehicle, slip on your 3D glasses, and suddenly you're soaring over Hong Kong with Iron Man himself, blasting drones and dodging explosions. It's part simulator, part action movie, and seeing familiar Hong Kong landmarks in the middle of the battle gives it a really cool local twist. Then just next door is Ant-Man and the Wasp Nano Battle, which is basically a high-tech shooting game turned ride. You shrink down to the size of an ant, grab a laser blaster, and help the heroes fight off swarms of Hydrobots. It's frantic, it's fun, it's interactive, and also competitive because you can compare the scores with your seatmate. This is also okay for kids and seniors as it doesn't have drops and twists. Lastly, you'll also find Orbitron here in Tomorrowland, where you pilot your own retro-style spaceship. It's quite similar to the Dumbo ride, so we often just skip this. At this point, you're probably exhausted, so it may be time for dinner before you settle down and watch the final show. The closest food spot would probably be Starliner Diner, which during one of our visits offered burgers and fried chicken with fries. You can check the current menu from the Hong Kong Disneyland website on your screen. And once you've had your dinner, make your way back to Main Street or the area in front of the castle to catch the momentous nighttime spectacular, which happens at either 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., or 9 p.m. depending on the season. This is Hong Kong Disneyland's jaw-dropping evening show. Think of it as the Disney's Greatest Hits album brought to life. The castle transforms into a massive projector screen with scenes from classics like The Lion King and Mulan, all the way to Frozen and Coco playing out with music that gives you goosebumps. Fireworks explode overhead with fountains dancing in sync, lasers cut through the night sky, and the cherry on top, while the theme park continues to celebrate its 20th anniversary, hundreds of drones forming dazzling shapes above the park. Not sure if the drones will still be there once the 20th anniversary celebration is concluded, so let us know in the comments if you were still able to catch it. As soon as it's over, people will start flooding out of the park, and you can join them or you can stay a little bit and let the madness pass so you could exit more peacefully. The last train leaves the Disney Resort Station at 12:40 a.m., way past midnight as of this recording, so there's really no need to hurry or join the crowd, unless you need to be elsewhere that night. Okay, by the way, if at any point you want to buy a souvenir, go for it. There's usually a store at the exit point of every ride. I suggest if you're buying souvenirs, do it earlier in the day because the souvenir shops usually close right around the same time that the fireworks show ends or even earlier than that. As you can imagine, this itinerary is so packed. It is possible if you're visiting on a weekday of an off peak season, but it might be challenging to achieve on a weekend. If you feel like you're running short of time, feel free to skip some of these and again, play it by ear. Just keep an eye on the wait times and decide based on those. In our next video, we'll be sharing our favorite restaurants and eateries in Hong Kong. If you don't want to miss that, please subscribe to this channel by hitting the subscribe button, ring the bell beside it, and select all so you're always updated. Remember, plan smart, travel safe, and make every trip worth it!